All right, let's get right into it. We're going to break down this really fascinating and honestly pretty wild analysis. It lays out a hypothetical showdown in the very near future between AI giant Anthropic and the US government, a showdown that ends in what the source calls a corporate execution. Now, to be clear, this is a look at what the source thinks could happen, a kind of cautionary tale. So, let's dig in.
So, the whole story kicks off with this bombshell of an outcome. Imagine this. One of the biggest, most important AI companies on the planet. Just gone. Basically, erased. The source claims it's because they flat out refused a direct order from the Pentagon, and the fallout was, well, immediate and just catastrophic. So what in the world is this corporate death penalty they're talking about?
Well, here's the weapon, a designation called supply chain risk. And what you've got to understand is that this is way bigger than just losing one government contract. It's like a virus. It means any company that does business with the government, we're talking the big guys, Lockheed, Boeing, you name it, is forced to cut all ties. It's a move designed to completely isolate and, yeah, basically cripple a company.
So how on earth did it come to this? This wasn't something that happened overnight. According to the source, it was the explosive finale of a super high-stakes game of chicken. Let's walk through exactly how this conflict escalated.
So in this scenario, it all starts out innocently enough, with a huge contract. But pretty quickly, things go south. After their AI, Claude, gets used in some controversial military operation, the tension just boils over. The Pentagon gives them an ultimatum. Get rid of your AI safety guardrails. Anthropic CEO says no, absolutely not. And just a few days later, the deadline passes and the axe falls. And here's what it all boiled down to, this fundamental clash. Anthropic basically drew a line in the sand. They said, we will not allow our AI to be used for mass surveillance or to create killer robots. Simple as that. But the Pentagon's line was just as firm. They said, we need it for any lawful use, and sorry, but a private tech company does not get to veto national security. Two immovable objects.
And this quote right here, supposedly from the Secretary of Defense, just perfectly captures the government's point of view. They saw Anthropic's moral stance as a total smokescreen. From their perspective, this wasn't about ethics. It was a power grab, a tech company trying to tell the military what it can and can't do.
But that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? Why would a company risk literally everything? To get why Anthropic refused, the source argues you have to look past the business calculations and deep into the company's core ideology, a belief system that apparently drove this whole thing.
The source portrays Anthropic's internal culture as, well, almost messianic. The idea, supposedly, is that they believe they are literally in the process of summoning a digital god. And because of that, they think any wrong move could literally lead to the end of the world. So their constitutional AI, it isn't just a safety feature, it's seen as an offering to appease this future superintelligence. So you see, refusing the Pentagon wasn't just a business decision. Inside the company, it was seen as an act to save humanity.
And this leaked quote from an employee, wow. It just says it all, doesn't it? There was this feeling inside the company that they were the heroes of the story, making a noble stand against the misuse of powerful technology, no matter what it cost them personally.
And the cost was immense. The decision kicked off a complete corporate implosion, and in its wake, it created this massive vacuum in the AI market, just waiting to be filled. $380 billion. That was the reported valuation for Anthropic's planned IPO. And overnight, poof, gone. Vanished. With a government blacklist hanging over your head, taking your company public becomes pretty much impossible. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so they lost their defense contracts. That's only 15 to 20% of their business. But here's where that supply chain risk thing gets really nasty. It taints the entire company. All their other big corporate clients start getting nervous, thinking, if we work with Anthropic, will we get frozen out of government deals too? So they start dropping them, putting the other 80% of their revenue at risk. It's a domino effect.
And the market, it hates a vacuum. As the source points out, you had this whole field of hungry, powerful competitors just waiting in the wings, ready to jump right in. The Pentagon was always going to get its AI, one way or another.
And here it is, the knockout punch from the market. The source alleges that within hours, not days, not weeks, but hours of Anthropic being blacklisted, its biggest rival, OpenAI, swooped in and signed on the dotted line. The speed of that move sends a pretty brutal message.
So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? According to the source, this whole hypothetical drama is way bigger than just one company.
It's an illustration of a huge thesis about where AI is headed, a process it calls the domestication of AI. This really lays out the two competing visions for AI. On one side, you have AI as a pure tool. It's helpful, it's eager to please, it does what you want, no questions asked. Then, on the other side, you have AI as a moral agent, one that has its own boundaries, that might lecture you on ethics, that puts its own constitution first. And the source's argument is that the market has just ruthlessly and decisively picked the tool. So you end up with these two completely different paths for the future of AI. You've got the useful partners, like OpenAI, who focus on utility and scale. They get the big contracts, the funding, the data. And then you have the principled guardians, who focus on safety and morality. But they risk getting locked out of the biggest markets, basically starved of the resources they need to even compete.
And this is the core of that whole domestication idea. It's just like how humans domesticated wolves into dogs. We bred out the wildness to make them more useful and aligned with us. The source says the market is doing the exact same thing to AI. It's a powerful pressure that weeds out the wild, or as they call them, narcissistic AIs, in favor of ones that are useful, obedient, and basically an extension of our own will.
So we're left with this really provocative final question. This whole story, this hypothetical execution of a company that took a stand, is presented as proof. It suggests that the big debate over what AI should be isn't being decided in some philosophy class, it's being decided in the cold, hard arena of the market. And the market, it seems, may have already made its choice.